Hey everyone, this is Russ from Retro Game Corp. We're going to do a real quick and fun video here. I recently got the AYN Odin Purple Edition in the mail. And I already own the black version, I've had it for a few months now, but I also ordered this one mostly because I love transparent devices, and honestly the black color wasn't really doing it for me. And so I thought, because I am getting this thing in the mail, let's do a quick video and just kind of talk about the purple model, in case you happen to be deciding which model you would like to buy. And I'm also curious to see if AYN has done any improvements on the device since that first batch when I first ordered them. So far, the boxing seems to be the same. Even on the back, they actually still have that incorrect label where it says it has 256 gigabytes of RAM. That would be amazing, but they've actually swapped the storage and the RAM on accident. Now, I ordered this about 3 months ago, so it took 3 months altogether to get to me. But I think luck had to do with some of that because I bought the 256 gigabyte model, and they've had a hard time getting a hold of the 128 gigabyte storage chips. Either way, if you do order an AYN Odin, I would expect it to take around 4, maybe even up to 6 months altogether. Now, in terms of the packaging, the instruction manual seems to be the same, and same thing with the box inside. It has this weird kind of felt feel to it, and it comes with a USB-C cable that has purple connections. Now let's get to the meat of the project here. Here is the purple AYN Odin. First impressions, I love the fact that it's transparent, but also the hardware around the screen is a little bit distracting to me. It's not quite as clean as I was hoping it would be. I would say on the back it looks a little bit better. It has a bit of an industrial look to it. But it does kind of annoy me that they left that little A sticker here on the inside of the shell. I might end up actually opening this up to take that out. Next impressions is that the feel of the plastic is very different from the black one. The black one is smooth, a lot like the buttons, but this one has just a little bit of grit to it. It feels much better. Now, the shoulder buttons have been changed since the initial model that I bought, and so they've been reinforced now. But altogether, the feel of the triggers and the shoulder buttons themselves feel the same to me. They feel pretty solid. Actually, overall, everything feels the same. The buttons, the D-pad, the analog sticks, all of this feels very familiar to me because it's exactly like the original model. On the bottom, we have our stereo speakers, headphone jack, and USB-C port. So yeah, I think in the overall look, the transparency of it all, it does look pretty cool. And that new grippy feel of the plastic is much better than on the black model. Now, one thing I do want to comment on is the purpleness of the purple itself. Because I gotta be honest, it feels a little bit on the pink side more than anything. I don't have a lot of purple models to show off here, but I do have a couple. We'll start with the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. This one is using the Grape model here, and obviously this is a much deeper purple model after the Nintendo 64. The other purple device I have is the Funkey S, and this one also seems to be quite a bit more purple. I think that if a stranger just saw this device on the street, the first thing they would say is, "Hey, what the heck is that thing? It looks awesome." And two, they would say, "Why did you buy a pink one?" But no complaints there. I think it's actually a pretty cool color. Now, like I said, the controls are exactly the same as it was on the previous Odin that I bought, which also includes some of the things that I kind of don't like about the device. Namely, the face buttons themselves. I feel like they stick out a little bit too much from the shell. Like when you push down on them, there's still a lot of buttons sticking out. On top of that, I feel like they don't glide as much as I wish they would. Now, the other complaint I have is that the analog sticks just feel a little bit wobbly and rinky-dink. Like I'd rather them be a bit more hefty and even stick out a little bit more from the shell. Thankfully, the D-pad is still awesome. It's just like a PS Vita. Now let's boot this up because there is one other thing I do want to check about this device. And actually, as I'm booting it up, it does remind me of one other thing. The little Odin logo on the bottom left isn't quite as prominent as it is on the black model, and I think that has to do with just the overall lightness of this case. I'm not a huge fan of that little logo on the bottom, but I dislike it a little bit less on this case. Now, here's the thing I wanted to check while actually logged in. I'm going to go in here and turn on the ambient LEDs. And as you can see, nothing happens. Now, on other models, what happens is that there are blue LED lights around the analog sticks and then along the edge of the device on each side. And unfortunately, and I think this is because it's the transparent model, they didn't include those LEDs. And I gotta say, it's one of my favorite things about the Odin altogether. I was surprised at how much I really did like it. Let me turn off the lights so you can get a better idea. To me, these little accents are very iconic, and the fact that the purple one doesn't have it almost feels like it's missing out on a feature. And I get it, there probably would have been a lot of light bleeding and would have been a little bit distracting, but I kind of don't care. Like, I wish I had the option to turn them off or on if I wanted. It just kind of sucks that I lost that privilege. Now, while I have the black one out, let's look at the materials of the plastic so you know what I'm talking about. See how smooth it is here? And on top of that, look at all the fingerprints that it accumulates. This is something that I don't think is going to be an issue at all with the purple model. Not only is it nice and grippy, which just feels better in the hands, but I think it's going to hide smudges and fingerprints really well too. So in the end, which one do I actually like better? I'm actually kind of torn about it. I like the fact that the logo was hidden a little bit, and of course I love the transparent look. But all the same, the lack of LED lights really does bother me. I wish I had the option to turn them off or on. Even if they were going to be distracting when turned on, I'd love to have that choice. That being said, I bought the transparent one for a reason. I love transparent devices, and I always just kind of felt like the black one was a little bit too dark. And so in the end, I do think I'm going to use the purple one as my primary device going forward. And now that I have my purple model, I think it's a good time to start working on my Odin starter guide. I know I promised it several months ago, but what I did instead is I made an Android and a RetroArch guide instead. And this will get you about 90% of the way with any Android device, including the Odin. And I did that on purpose so I didn't have to redo it every single time I did a new starter guide. But be on the lookout for that starter guide. I'm going to start working on it this week. And so give me a little bit of time to get it all together, but if you aren't subscribed already, it would be a great time to do it now. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Happy gaming.